Hi and welcome back to the Cheeky Crypto Podcast. My name's Chris and it's fantastic to have you back with us for another podcast video. And in today's podcast, we're going to have a look at the latest news and I'm going to talk through what my expectations are on things that we're likely to see in the medium term when it comes to cryptocurrency. So stay tuned until the end. It was fantastic yesterday to have our first live stream, and I know it wasn't officially the first one. We've done a live podcast before, but it was our first, I guess, of many, because we're going to be doing these on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays each week. Obviously tomorrow would be Thursday, so hopefully we'll have a new live podcast for you tomorrow, but that really is dependent on whether the builders are in Nick's studio sorting out some of the issues that he has there. So yeah, stay tuned until the end because I am going to give you my thoughts and opinions on what to expect in cryptocurrency in the medium term. So let's get down to the desktop. So we're going to start here with something I thought was a little bit light, not really going to be anything that tells us where the market is going, but I just thought it was quite comical in some regards. Man who hid $3.4 billion in stolen Bitcoin in inside a popcorn tin and underground safe gets a year. Or gets a year in prison. Yeah, a year. Which is crazy, right? Stole more than 50,000 Bitcoin from Silk Road dark web marketplace in 2012. And now this is all in the hands of the US government, I would imagine. So look, rather interesting. But there you go. Cheetos popcorn tin. I just thought that was just a little bit of light humor to get us started in the podcast. If you do enjoy the podcast, mash up that like button, subscribe so you never miss a live or pre-recorded podcast. And don't forget you can follow us on all of the major podcast channels, likes of Spotify, Apple Music, and all those wonderful places. But look, the next bull run, Ethereum founder issues bullish prediction after game-changing upgrade helps Bitcoin price rally. Not sure Ethereum's upgrade helped Bitcoin rally. I'm not aligned to that, but this is obviously to do with the Shanghai upgrade on the Ethereum network, and basically that means that you can now unstake your Ethereum. I believe there's a big queue. Many in the space have been talking about big sell-offs, and many people are also talking about, I guess, a counter argument that more people are going to lock up their Ethereum purely because you know you're going to be able to take it out and unstake it whenever you like. So look, I think this is all really positive stuff. I do think that Ethereum is going to do really well. I do like the staking mechanism in regards that it takes a lot of the crypto off the open market and locks it away, making it more scarce. And then obviously you have the supply and demand stuff sort of really kick in. And that is something that I like about ADA and many other projects, right? And we've talked about this publicly, and I do think that it is a bit of a game changer. But what Vitalik also goes on to talk about is the fact that they now really need to focus on scalability, and this is where all the layer 2s come in. This is the stuff that we talk about and highlight on the channel, the narrative from a sector perspective, and my future prediction is layer 2s are going to be a big deal. The likes of Matic, the likes of 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗪, Aurora on Near Protocol, Hypercycle on Cardano, like layer 2s, not just on Ethereum but on other chains as well, are all going to do very, very well in the next bull run, in my opinion. So start researching those. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. Take everything that I say with a pinch of salt. Go do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor, right? That I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm just telling you how I see the market and where I think it's going. I just happen to be good at that. But you know, it's up to you guys to go away and do your own research. MicroStrategy CEO integrates Bitcoin Lightning Network to corporate email, and this is something that, you know, we need to be paying close attention to, in my opinion. Obviously, MicroStrategy, big investors in Bitcoin, and they are going to be pushing anything on the Bitcoin ecosystem. You know, Lightning Network being one of those, and integrating it into the corporate email world is something that, you know, is going to be something that's pushed, right? So, you know, look, really positive stuff. I do think Bitcoin's going to go, you know, on and do really, really well. So yeah, look, we need to be aware of the stuff going on. I think MicroStrategy are going to be big pushers of any Bitcoin innovation that they believe could, you know, potentially build more of a utility for Bitcoin. So keep an eye on, you know, other things that are building or looking to build on Bitcoin. Recently, we've seen NFTs and so forth. So yeah, lots of really interesting stuff. We got crypto custody faces regulatory death roll, and look, I want to talk about, you know, I guess some of the negative side of things, or potentially negative side of things, but also things that I feel like are also potentially necessary in order for mass adoption. And one of those things is around custody and companies. So we are seeing regulation being, you know, talked about, I guess investigated as to the best types of regulations that were required. And I can see custody from a business point of view being a very, very interesting narrative over the coming months. Now, why do I talk about it like this? I really do believe that traditional finance companies are going to look to monopolize custody of crypto. It's not self-custody. That's what we do. But, you know, any company that wants to custody crypto moving forward, I believe in the future will have to have some sort of licensing or sign off from a regulatory body before they can look after anybody else's cryptocurrency. So this is going to be rather interesting, and I wonder and predict that there is a potential gating off process where only certain people are allowed those licenses. And licensing might be the wrong way, that, you know, not the way that they go, but I think it's going to be something like that. It's going to be some form of gated, you know, ruling or regulatory compliance, licensing, sign off, that sort of thing. And that poses a big risk for a lot of existing, you know, companies that are already holding or custody cryptocurrency. So I think watch this space. I'm expecting more and more banks to get involved in the custody aspect of things. Again, using the banks are the safest place for your crypto, as they do now for your fiat. So yeah, look, rather interesting. But again, I do think that you need a form of traditional banking sector custody options, because that is how you get mainstream adoption. So I do expect this to happen. It's just a case of, you know, do they restrict it for existing companies? And I think they will. We've got crypto firms will develop offshore without clear US rules. This is the chief of Coinbase, and you know, recently visited Britain, who are looking to be, I guess, the central hub of cryptocurrency. I think that really the UK is mixed up, and like it's portrayed, you know, around the world as if, like, you know, they've got their shit together, and they really haven't. You know, one breath the government are saying we are the hub of cryptocurrency, and then you've got all the UK banks going, no, you can't invest more than £1,000 a month in cryptocurrency. What are you, mad? It's risky. So yeah, look, I think it's a little bit mixed up here in the UK, but you know, a lot of people around the world, particularly the US, seem to think we've got our shit together here in the UK, and we really haven't. It's still, I guess, run by clueless people when it comes to, you know, upcoming and emerging technology. So look, I agree with this. You are just going to be pushing away companies from what, you know, could potentially be a safe harbor for blockchain, fintech, crypto, blockchain companies, and moving them to less, you know, I guess, regulated areas around the world that couldn't really give a rat's ass about whether, you know, investors are kept safe or not. So I think that the best, I guess, way to move forward would be for the US to set clear guidelines, maybe have a sandbox of some sort. And I think this is the same for the UK as well, although I don't think the UK is as bad as the US currently, with the clowns that are in charge of the SEC and other regulatory bodies in the US, that just seem to fail time and time again to keep investors safe. And so much so that it basically makes me question whether they actually want to keep investors safe, because that, like, can you possibly be that inaccurate and that bad at your job? You know, I think somebody in the comments said a clock is, you know, even right twice a day. And I would question whether, you know, if the SEC were a clock, whether that clock would be right twice a day. It would probably not be right twice a day. It would probably be moving very, very slowly and never actually be right at all. And that makes it very, very questionable as to why that is. How are they missing so much? And it's not just the SEC, right? Look at some of these banks that, you know, didn't even have risk managers, or heads of risk management in their business for over, you know, 3 or 4 months. So look, you know, these are things that, you know, these regulators should have had oversight of, and you know, we can look at it traditional finance or crypto. I think it's all the same, really, to be honest. We got the Bank of England considers limits on stablecoin payments as Parliament debates new crypto rules. Now, this is the next thing, right? This is the next prediction that I've got for everybody, and that is I guess the campaign against stable coins, right? Because you're going to have CBDCs, like, and then your question's going to be, what's the need of a stable coin? Why have a stable coin when we've got this digital pound, digital euro, digital dollar, and so forth, right? Like, why do we need stable coins? And there's going to be, in my opinion, a big regulatory fight against stable coins. So stable coins are something that I think people should be very careful of at the moment. I think there's regulatory risk, and you know, I'm calling this risk out here now. And look, I think that my videos over the last 12 months have aged very, very well. I'd go back to 2020 and I think that our videos have aged very, very well. Now, are we right about absolutely everything? No, of course not. Nobody's going to be right about everything. And yes, we're going to have made mistakes. And yes, we're going to have called the odd thing inaccurately. And I think the vast majority of our predictions, though, have come to fruition. And if we go back to the beginning of the channel, our 4th ever video was on SingularityNet and the power of AI. Now I'm seeing these, you know, influential influencers, you know, top tier, that are seen everywhere. They're on, you know, the news, they're on general TV. They've got TV series, like, you know, on Netflix about them and all this sort of stuff, talking about it now. We've got BlackRock talking about everything being tokenized. We were talking about this back in 2020. I think our videos have aged tremendously well. I think, you know, we've managed this bear market impeccably, calling out the likes of FTX, BlockFi, various other, you know, failures before they failed, before most others, you know, including 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 and, you know, his infamous FTX tweet. We were talking about it before then. We were telling people to short FTT, short Solana, and all that wonderful stuff. So we've saved people an awful lot of money by, you know, being, I guess, non-emotional, highlighting how we see the market. You know, even USDC depegging, I made 9% profit on USDC from that depeg. And again, I did this whilst telling our, you know, Patreon members what I was doing, why I was doing it, and so forth. So, you know, there's many instances that we can call out. And look, The reason why I highlight this stuff, it's not about boasting. It's just literally about trying to explain that, you need to be open-minded in this space. I talk about a lot of stuff and I highlight an awful lot of risk. And why am I doing this? I'm still in Preserve Capital. Back in May 2022, before the low in June, I was telling people perhaps you don't want to be in crypto right now. I was saying to people I sold my ADA and I was going to buy back lower. I was telling people that, to expect indicators to invalidate. I was saying all of this stuff. And I was telling people to not just, dismiss what I'm saying because you don't agree with it. What I am trying to explain to people is go away, do your research, listen to both sides of, people's arguments and look at two different narratives. They can be completely different, and research what each of these individuals are saying, because, I would hazard a guess, anybody that's really bullish right now, yes, they're pointing to indicators. They were back in June and July and August. They were telling me about 7 magical indicators. And all I said to them was they're going to become invalidated. I'm sat here now with these invalidated indicators, with the market going exactly how I said it was, being told the same stuff I was told back then. Now, like I say, take what I say with a pinch of salt. People will say that I'm babbling and, I don't know what I'm talking about, yet nobody else has been calling what I've been calling, when I was calling it, or ahead of time, ahead of when I was calling it, other than us. And I think that, we've picked out some tremendous gems in the previous bear market, did tremendously well selling, and making good profit in the previous bull market. I think we're going to do better this time round. There's people that were selling their 𝗕𝗓𝗪, their ARB, and we were buying it, and we were giving reasons as to why. Look, there's only so many times I'm going to highlight, the calls that we're making over the periods of time that we're making them, being completely transparent, telling you I could be wrong this time. But what I do encourage people to be is open-minded. I think that, if you're not happy with your financial positions right now, what I would say is, question yourself and whether you're open-minded. Question, who you're following. Question what information you're taking in. And have a look back over your track record. I'm the first to say when I get something wrong, and so is Nick. We highlight it regularly when we get something wrong. But what I would say is, don't take this as because I see the comments. People are like, "Oh, you're just boasting." It comes across wrong. You're going to lose followers and all this sort of stuff. I'm happy. Followers can come, they can go. But I'm always going to be true to myself, and I'm still, going to air what I want to air. And what I guess I really want from people watching at home is to understand that, it's coming from a place I want you to be successful. I don't want people to lose money in space. It's not good for me if I say that I expect a new lower low and a new lower low doesn't come in. If I was doing it for clicks, then I would be bullish right now. I'd just go with the narrative, the current narrative. But I don't truly believe that narrative is accurate. And, because of that, I'm going to, I guess be persecuted in the comments for what I say and how I come across. And to be honest, I think how I come across is just who I am and who I want to be. And if you don't like it, I think that says an awful lot about the person that's making the comment, to be fair. So look, what I would say, a bit of a ramble here, is be open-minded, listen to both sides of the argument, and see which side resonates with you. Base it on facts. Indicators are great, but it's a small data set. Some indicators could be used in the stock market. There's far more liquidity there. So just be careful when people are boasting about indicators and this, that, the other. I think the whole macro landscape is far more supportive of a true narrative. And I really do believe that there's correlation between crypto and stocks. And I think we are moving away from a 4-year cycle. People are going to, laugh, giggle, take the piss out of that. But I think the more and more adoption this space gets, the bigger it grows, the less it is likely to be dominated by one cryptocurrency and a halving cycle. And I think we're getting to that point where things start to change. And look, this is either going to age like milk or it's going to age like fine wine, like a lot of our other videos. Like, what I would say is, regardless of how this video ages, my thoughts, my opinions are, you should go away, do the research, look at the arguments, and question why people are, saying what they're saying. Is there substance to it, or are they just all in a group chatting together, demonstrating and coming together and forming a narrative? Narrative is very, very dangerous. It can be very, very positive, if you find the right narrative to follow. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. I really wanted to kind of highlight where I see the market going, some of the risks that, could rear their heads and play havoc in this space and potentially pull the market back. I think into today's videos on the main channel, I may look at, more of the bullish scenario and why we could actually moon. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, mash up that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, tapping that bell, selecting all the notifications so you never miss a video, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.